For a long time now, Africa as a continent has been known to be one of the continents that does not indulge itself in research work. Kenya as a country was one of those affected by this notion. But specialists from the KCA University have come up to demystify this notion by coming up with a research lab that would help ease in research work for university students, companies, organizations, and government institutions.
Immaculate. This is the one word you would use to describe this quite chubby man at first glance. There's a lot to say from his brown short-sleeved suit to his nicely done haircut. But there is more to this man than what meets the eye. Brilliance, creativity, and intelligence, just but to mention a few. This is the brains behind the very first data analytics, visualization, and research laboratory in the country. He tells me more about what informed the idea of coming up with the lab.
Since the independence of Kenya, so much data has been gathered in corporation and government departments, in universities, but although they've used it to identify trends, identify costs, identify expenditures, but they've not reached a point of exploring what insights can this data give us. What is there unexpected phenomena within this data that we've not explored? So the basic aspect of data analytics is to identify those unexpected behavior and insights generated within that data so that we gain knowledge and understand how that area or that industry or that particular subsector is performing.
The lab, which was launched 3 days ago by the Permanent Secretary from the Ministry of Information and Communication, Dr. Bitange Ndemo, comprises of 4 computers for starters and 6 specialists, and according to Professor Dembe, the main purpose for it is to try and predict unexpected phenomena. The excited professor just knows how important this is to the country, and he does not hesitate to quip.
Big data has become an important area for future of computing, and we're exploring some of the contributions that the area of data analytics and visualization can bring about. Contribution to local economies, contribution to explain unexpected phenomena within the economies, within the environment, within health, and so forth. And we explore a range of problems because we think the area of data analytics can help us to discover areas that were previously not known.
On the education system, Professor Dembe insists that there is dire need to restructure the learning process to ensure students understand what they are doing as opposed to cramming so as to pass an examination. The synthesizing of data from the lab is expected to play a big role and get university students to embrace research more as a way of life.
We think we need to reconstruct the learning process by appreciating data. For example, writing new programs that can teach kids to learn on their own without cramming. That students in classes should not only rely on brown notes, but they are able to develop the natural aspect of learning by maybe engaging in practical experiments with our data.
For something that seems so complex, the lab project that cost 5 million Kenya shillings is also set to help solve social problems in sectors such as health, agriculture, among others. Hence the reason why very soon ministries will have to rely on its data to make decisions.
A good example would be health. Quite a lot of data has been collected on health, but we do not, up to now, use that big data to plan where to put the next health center, to direct where medicine of a particular disease is most needed. With big data and with data analytics, we're able now to identify where certain diseases are prevalent and where maybe interventions, policy interventions could be made and medicine be directed to those areas.
The data analytics lab is also accompanied with a visualization aspect meant for effective understanding, reasoning and decision making, in that those who are not so much into the technical part would understand, and organizations could use a visual explanation on consumer behavior studies, among other studies. He gives a demonstration on how this works.
We looked at consumer behavior. Recently we identified that our students were drinking different brands of soda. And to us was a very interesting concept, because they started departing from the traditional drinks, soda drinks we had, to maybe to take up Pepsi, drink Coke and so forth. So we decided to explore whether this was the same issue at other universities, whether they were also experiencing the same note. So we collected data, and we subjected it to our visual analytics process. Normally, we start with collecting data and then improve it by having, for example, my colleagues, as you can see, some of them are specialized in statistical methods, others in data design and so forth. But within that process, we can at the same time develop visualization models, so that they can help us. Not only do we see the statistical aspect that has explained the knowledge there, but now we can be able to visualize it and say, what is taking place here?
All said and done, Professor Williams Dembe, like everyone else, has expectations for the future, accompanied by a plan to woo more young people to data analytics and the ICT sector, armed with the fact that in the next few years, everything will be technology-driven, taking this country a notch higher. The lab is just a step towards fast-tracking Vision 2030.
We're going to do all our best, make sure that we make it very accessible. We explain to parents that this is an area of professional practice and research, good for the country, good for us. Remember, we've been dealing with the data since we were born. So data analytics should come naturally to us. So improving on it, supporting with technology, we think students would be very much interested.
Annette Akisa, GBS.